Let's talk further about these peace talks with Peter Doran. He's an adjunct senior fellow at the Foundation for Defense of Democracies. Peter, welcome. So let's just cut right to the chase. Do you think that we're going to get a deal here in the next couple of weeks?
Well, I think Donald Trump's peace plan is clearly on its back foot right now. The White House has had several setbacks this week, so much so that even Secretary Rubio pulled out at the very last hour from a high-stakes meeting in London. Lonnie, Trump is not happy with either side, but especially with Vladimir Putin, as you pointed out, and he's got a right not to be happy. In the last 24 hours, while he was bashing Ukrainian President Zelensky, Vladimir Putin was the one who unleashed the largest bombardment of Ukrainian civilians since last summer. So if Vladimir Putin wants peace, he has a very violent way of expressing himself.
Well, you know, Peter, it's interesting because this deal actually seems to heavily favor Russia, right? Even though they were the ones that started this war. And clearly concessions have to be made in negotiations. But when asked what concessions Russia is making, here's what Trump said. Listen here.
What concessions has Russia offered up thus far to get to the point where you're closer to peace?
Stopping the war. Stopping taking the whole country. Pretty big concession.
So not taking the whole country. Peter, is that enough? I mean, have we lost sight here that it was Russia that invaded Ukraine?
Well, Lonnie, a lot of times President Trump talks off the cuff, and I think this is one of those examples where he may want to reflect on what he said. We see this time and time again with Russia. They create a problem that only they can solve, and then they negotiate for concessions to stop continuing the problem that they started in the first place. Trump is indicating that Russia's concession is not destroying Ukraine as a country. Well, obviously, the Ukrainians would have words about that. And I think that shows us just how far apart we are. Important note on Crimea, as your excellent analysis indicated, it's against U.S. law signed by Trump in 2017 for the United States to ever recognize the illegal annexation of Crimea. So it's a little strange for the White House to be pushing Ukraine to do something that the United States, thanks to President Trump's own signature, is barred from doing.
Yeah, I did want to go to that point, Peter. You know, under this deal, Trump wants to recognize Russia's claim over any territory that they have forcibly taken, including Crimea. But as you said, just 3 years ago, when now Secretary of State Marco Rubio was senator, he co-sponsored this amendment to prohibit the U.S. from ever recognizing any Russian claim over the Ukraine territory that had been taken by force, saying, quote, the United States cannot recognize Putin's claims, or we risk establishing a dangerous precedent for other authoritarian regimes like the Chinese Communist Party to imitate, which is in line, Peter, with that larger global policy that borders cannot be rewritten by force, right? So do you think that there are bigger implications to be drawn here from what Trump is asking for?
Lonnie, that's absolutely correct. Let's recall President Trump and Vice President Vance campaigned on a promise that they were going to pull America out of endless wars and prevent them from happening. What's a great way to spread endless wars around the world? Well, it's for the United States to say, if you invade someone else's country and seize it by force, the United States will let you keep your ill-gotten goods and benefit from them, and we'll recognize those territorial gains. Obviously, that's not a prescription for success. And the person who knows this is Vladimir Putin. It is Putin who has been inserting these poison pills into the negotiation process, knowing full well that his counterpart Zelensky could never accept any of these, knowing full well that the United States shouldn't accept them. So obviously Putin is playing for time, he's playing for attention, and he dearly wants the sanctions to be lifted on his country. President Trump should make sure that never happens until there is a lasting, enduring and enforceable peace in Ukraine.
Peter, we've got about 30 seconds left. I did want to get back to that question about Ukraine. You know, I mean, do you really see this even as a deal for them, or is this more as a surrender? Because after these 3 years of fighting, this deal really seems to put them in a vulnerable position to be invaded again by Russia in the future.
Well, Lonnie, I think President Zelensky deserves a lot of credit here. He has accepted without conditions a 30-day ceasefire. Vladimir Putin hasn't. Everything that President Trump has asked him to do, he has said, yes, we absolutely will, because we want peace through strength, and we want the world to know that Russia is the aggressor. We need to be strong in order to maintain peace. And so kudos to the Ukrainian side. Now it falls on Trump to decide what to do with Vladimir Putin.
Well, we'll all have to watch and see what happens next. Peter, Doran, appreciate your perspective here. Thanks for joining us.